Welcome student of class 10. I hope you all are fit and fine. We are here in this class to discuss regarding the chapter called agriculture. This is the second video. In the previous video we have discussed about what is an agriculture, how importance it holds in the Indian society, and how many peoples are dependent on the agriculture, and what are the different types of agriculture farming. We have discussed all this. We have also seen how the peoples are moving from the primitive subsistence level to the commercial level. We have used the modern technology in order to increase the production of the agriculture. We have seen all this. Today is a very important lecture. We will discuss regarding the cropping pattern. Okay, so in this cropping pattern, what we have to see that why we will discuss the cropping pattern, student. This is because like India is rich in its physical diversity. We all know that it is also rich in various kinds of a culture. It is rich in the types of a soil. So it is very obvious that it will be rich also in the various kind of a crops. Whether it is a food crop, it will be a commercial crop, or it may be the fruits, vegetables, whichever things it is will found here. So all these needs to be feeded in some category. So let's see which category these fruits, these vital crops and fruits can be feeded. Okay. So for this we have to know the different cropping pattern what is being practiced in our country. Okay, so in our country we are having basically three cropping pattern. One is your Rabi season, one cropping pattern which is being practiced in your Rabi season, the second cropping pattern is being practiced in your Zaid season, and the third cropping pattern which is being practiced in your Kharif season. Okay, so what is this Rabi, Kharif and Zaid? We'll see one by one. So coming first to the Rabi crop, what we see that it is a kind of a crop which is grown at the beginning of the winter. Okay, so during the time of November to December, it is the sowing period, and harvesting period is from your March to September. So during the winter we try to sow this crop, and at the beginning of the summer we try to do the harvesting. Okay, so let's see, we'll write down what is the sowing period. And the sowing period is your November to December. The period is your November to December. Okay, so during the winter months we try to sow it, and in the summer, that is your March to September, we try to harvest this crop. Okay. So this is how we do that. And what are the important crops which have been grown here? Then the first, everybody knows, that is your wheat, and the second one will be your barley. The third one we all know, yeah, pea, and the fourth one is your mustard. Yeah. And then we have our gram. These are the important crops of your Rabi season. Okay, student, do you know one thing that this Rabi crop is been boosted by two yet important factors. These are, one is the green revolution and the other is your western temperate cyclone. Now what is the green revolution? We all know when we started the introduction of the modern farming, when we started using HYV seeds, the plant irrigation manner, and then we have used the bio fertilizers as well as different pesticides has been used in order to boost the agriculture. This was known as your green revolution. Indeed, it was successful in few states, but it was not successful all over India. So some few states where it was successful was your Punjab, your western Uttar Pradesh, your Haryana, your parts of Rajasthan. Okay, so these states where the production was significantly up to its mark was just because of your green revolution. Okay. The second is what? The western temperate cyclone. We know when we have discussed about the climate in the previous year, where we were discussing about the western disturbance, we saw the importance of this disturbance where in the winter season these helps basically the Rabi crop, and for that reason it gives a big support in the success of the Rabi crop. Okay, student. The next cropping pattern which we are going to discuss is your Kharif season. So let's see what do we have in our Kharif season. So the second crop is your Kharif season. Now in this Kharif season, we will have various crops. The prominent one is your paddy. Okay. So what is a Kharif season? Let's see on the board what do we have for ourselves. So Kharif season are the crops which are grown with the onset of monsoon. Okay. So it is a crop which is grown at the onset of monsoon and it is harvested at the beginning of the winter. Okay. So onset of monsoon means which? When is the month when it could be sown? So the month when it could be sown is your June. June. And when it could be harvested, that is your from September to your October. Okay. So this crop needs a high temperature from 25 to 30 degree of temperature is required for the growth of this crop. Okay, so that is why, and besides this it needs 100 centimeter of rainfall also. Basically here we are just talking about the paddy. Okay. So these things are to be suited in which region? Then it is your tropical region. So India's coastal regions are lying in the tropical regions. So here there is no lack of water nor there is any lack of your temperature. So that is why in the coastal regions best your rice grows. So like for an example, in your West Bengal, in your Assam, in the coastal regions of Andhra Pradesh, in your Orissa, in your Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and particularly your Konkan coast. Okay, your Konkan coast, that is your Malabar and all that area. I mean your Maharashtra and all that area is your Konkan coast, and then it is also grown in your Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. And in the recent year we have seen that this kind of crop has also been grown in your state called your Punjab and Haryana by using a different kind of an irrigation facilities. Okay, so the crops which are being grown here are for an example, what are the different Kharif crops? We'll write it down. First is your maize. Okay. Then second is your paddy. The third one is your jowar. Okay, this is your jowar. And then we have bajra. Then tur, which is also known as your arhar. Okay. And then we have cotton. Cotton is your Kharif crop. Urad. Moong. Then your jute, okay, is also your Kharif crop. Then groundnut and soybean. You write it down here. Groundnut and your soybean. Groundnut and soybean. Okay. So once again we'll see what are the different crops which has been grown in this season. Number one is your maize, then your paddy, then your jowar, then we have bajra, then we have tur. Then we have tur, which is also called as your arhar. Then we have cotton, we have urad, we have moong, and then jute. And besides this, we have also having groundnut and your soybean. So these are coming in the example of your Kharif crop. Okay, as we have said that Kharif basically here the major crop is your rice, that is your paddy. So in our India we are having three varieties of rice which is grown in your coastal regions. These are As, Aman and Boru. Okay, so these are the three varieties of rice which grows in our coastal regions, which we have just discussed here. The coastal regions, like for an example West Bengal, Assam and all, these are the areas where we are having three different varieties of rice. Okay, why we are having this variety of rice? Very obvious, because India lies in a tropical country, and for having Kharif crops we need two important things. One is your temperature, which is fulfilling the need, as well as your rainfall. So about 100 centimeter of rainfall has been available in these regions. So we are having varieties of crops which has been grown in the Kharif season. Besides this, there is another important crop which grows in between these two seasons is your Zaid crop. Okay, so let us see what do we have in our Zaid cropping pattern. So Zaid season comes in between your summer and your winter season, which means that it is a part of your summer season only. During the rainfall, these kind of crops grow. Okay, so let's see what do we have on the blackboard. So the Zaid season, it is in between the Kharif and the Rabi season. Okay, it is in between. It is a very short season. It is a very short season which comes during the summer months only, and so that is why it is known as your Zaid season. So what is the sowing month? So the sowing month is your April to June. Okay, April to June. So April you sow, and April, May, June, then you harvest that. Okay, so in a very short time it grows, it develops itself, and we are having the different crops here, like your musk melon we have. Okay, and then we have watermelon. And then we have cucumber. Okay, we have vegetables. We have various vegetables also grows during this season, and then we are also having a different food crops. Okay, so food crops, the crops which is used for feeding the animals, are known as your food crops. So these are the different cropping pattern which we have just discussed. One is your Rabi season, that is your winter crops, and then we are having a Kharif season, that is your summer crop, and then we are having a short season in between this winter and summer, that is your Zaid season. So student, we have discussed the cropping pattern, and now we will discuss about the major crops. We know that India is having a different climatic conditions, so we are having both food as well as non-food crop. Okay, so in the food crops we are having a different crops like the rice, wheat, and in the non-food crops we are having a different oil seeds. So we need to discuss all this. So first and foremost we'll discuss about the rice. Okay, so let's see what do we have in the heading, that is your food crop. So we are having a different crop here, and today we are going to discuss about the rice. Okay, so students, we all know that it is a staple food crop of most of the peoples in India. Okay, rice is one of the most important crop, and it has been known as a staple diet. Why? Because all of the peoples consume rice in the large amount. So that is why it is known as a staple diet. It has been taken daily by the people of India. Secondly is what? It is the Kharif crop which needs a high temperature. So about above 25 degrees centigrade we need the temperature, and since it has been sown during the time of the monsoon, so the rainfall which has been required is about 100 centimeter, and the temperature which has been required approximately it is 30 to 25 degrees centigrade. Besides this, we'll see the area where the rice has been found. So the area which has been here, which is your north and northeastern India. Okay, we all know that the great granaries of India, that is our the northern plain. Here basically because of its many features, the rice has been grown in the plenty amount here, and in the deltaic area also we are seeing that peoples are starting to plant the rice. Okay, because it needs a lot of water, and in this area the water is very much available, so they are planning to produce rice in their region. Besides this, we are having the rice also in the coastal areas. Okay, now in the coastal area, what interesting fact is that it produces the rice throughout the year. So throughout the year we are having the rice, and then also in the different varieties. The different meanings are there given to the rice here. It's Os, Aman, and Boro. So these are the three varieties which is grown throughout the year in the coastal region. So for that reason it is being unique. And we have to note it down here that the states like Haryana, Punjab, Western UP, and the parts of Rajasthan, which doesn't have a suitable climate for plowing the rice, but the people have taken a good step here in order to produce rice with the help of the modern technology. Like for an example, they are using the modern network network of tube wells. Besides this, the canals have also been there in order to irrigate the field for the rice. Okay, so this is what we see here for the rice, and the next one which we are having down the pipeline is our wheat. So let's see what do we have for the wheat. The second crop before us is our wheat. Okay, so it is the second most vital cereal crop of India, because here the people consume, especially the people from the northwestern part of India as well as North India, they love lots of chapatis, so that is why wheat is produced in this area. Okay, so it is one of the staple diet of these peoples who stays over the north and the northwestern part of India. In the rice, I have told you that the staple diet means the people who consume it every day. That is known as a staple diet. So it is a staple diet of the people in the north and the northwestern part of India. It comes under the category of the rabi crop, okay, which needs a cool and moist climate. You know that during the winter this crop has been sown, so that time the climate is basically very soothing, so it is cool, okay, and it is also moist. So it needs, while ripening, I mean while harvesting, that time it requires a bright sunshine, and so that the harvesting period the crops may give a good yield. Okay, so that is why that time the rain is not required. So the temperature here is 15 degrees centigrade to 30 degrees centigrade. Okay, so the normal temperature is required here for the wheat crop, that is your 15 degree to 30 degree centigrade, and the rainfall is just near 50 to 70 centimeter. Okay, but this needs to be distributed evenly throughout the year. Okay, which means what? During the time of its developing period, time to time we need to irrigate the field with the help of the canals, tube wells, or the nature, that is your rain. Okay. It grows well in which kind of a soil? Then it grows well in your alluvial soil. It also grows in your black soil. Okay, so it is rich for this kind of a crop. And which are the important major states where the wheat has been produced? So we can say Punjab, Haryana is the first one, and then comes Bihar, UP, Rajasthan, and your Madhya Pradesh. Time to note down is what? The interesting fact regarding the wheat is what? As we have seen in the rice, the interesting fact was the coastal region has produced the three varieties of rice, that is your Assam and Boro. So the interesting point in the wheat is what? The southern area and peninsula rarely do the cultivation of wheat, because here rarely we have the winters. The winter doesn't fall in these areas because it lies in the tropical region. So that is why wheat is just produced in your northern and your western part of our country. Then the next crop which we are having is called your millet. Okay, so millet, we all know it is your fooder crop also. So let's see what do we have for the millet. So millets are the coarse grains, but so what do you mean by coarse grains here? That the coarse grains, जिसे हम लोग मोटा अनाज कहते हैं, it is very good for our diet because it helps us to overcome from the constipation. It works like roughage. So coarse grains, मोटा अनाज हमें खाना ही चाहिए. Why? Because it is having a high nutritive value. Okay, so इसमें बहुत सारे macronutrients भी है. It works like a roughage also, and besides this, it is having a large content of iron and calcium. Like for an example, ragi is also millet, as it is containing a high content of iron and your calcium. Okay, so that is why millets are good for your diet. So we are having three varieties of millets here. One is jowar, the second is bajra, the third is your ragi. Okay, so we'll discuss one by one. So millet in the first number, that is your jowar. It is the third most significant crop regarding the area and productions after your wheat and rice. Your jowar is your third most important crop in the production as well as in the area. Okay, and the second one one is what? It is a rain-fed crop, means the area which is having the less amount of water or moisture or irrigation facility. In this area, we can easily grow the coarse grains. Okay, that is your millet. Then it grows in the moist area, which hardly requires an irrigation. As I told you, we can grow it basically in the dry zone area, and where is very little bit of irrigation is required for the development of this crop. And then the states which produce jowar is Maharashtra, Karnataka, and MP. Okay, so these are the states which is a good producer of the jowar. The next cereal which comes towards us is the bajra. So bajra is what? It grows well in your sandy soil, loamy soil, and the shallow black soil. Okay, these soils is good. Why? Because they require very little rain in order to develop this crop. Okay. And the states which is having the abundance of the cereal is Rajasthan, UP, Maharashtra, Haryana, and Gujarat. Okay, as I have told you before that this is a coarse grain. It is good for the diet. And the next one which we are having is our ragi. Okay, so let's see what do we have for our ragi. It is also one of the crop which is grown in your dry region. It is also one of the crop which is grown in your dry region. Okay, so let's write down. So what do we have in the ragi? We will write down that dry crop which grows in dry region, which grows in dry region. Okay, it also needs the same kind of a soil, that is your sandy soil, your black soil, and your loamy soil. Okay, we all know that loamy soil is called as your mountain soil because it is good in all respects. Okay, so it grows in three kinds of soil. One is sandy soil, the other is a black soil, and the third one is your loamy soil. Okay, and the biggest state which produces ragi is your Karnataka. And after Karnataka is your Tamil Nadu. Okay. Besides this, there are the other states also which produce ragis, that is your Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Andhra Pradesh. These are the states which is coming forward in order to produce. Even our Jharkhand is also one of the states which produces the ragi. So these are the three millets which we have seen, that is the jowar, bajra, and ragi. We also discussed that ragi also contains a good amount of your calcium, and as well as we have seen that it also produces good amount of your calcium, and also it produces a good amount of your nutrient, okay, which we have discussed now, and also in iron. So this is what we are having in the millets. The next crop which we will go to is your maize. So maize is also one of the coarse grain. It is also as a fooder crop, and we will see what do we have in the maize now. So as we have talked about, that maize is a coarse grain. It is used both in the food as well as the fooder crop. Okay, so it is a coarse grain utilized both for the food and the fooder crop. It also comes under the category of the kharif crop, and it is the temperature which is required. It is 21 to 27 degrees centigrade. Okay, so the temperature which requires is 21 to 27 degrees centigrade, and the soil which is needed for this kind of a crop is your alluvial soil as well as your loamy soil. Okay, and then what is the water which is required for this crop? So it doesn't need too much of water. The less amount of water is will required for the growth of this kind of a crop. Besides this, with the help of the modern input device, like for an example your HYV seeds, your irrigation facilities, your fertilizers, your biochemical fertilizers, these has helped in the production productions of the maize, and it has made one of the commercial crop of India. Okay. Then the next point which we have for the maize is what? The states, the important states which produces the maize are, for an example, your Bihar, UP, your Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, as well as the newly state which has been formed, that is your Telangana. Okay. What is the important note we have to see here? That the interesting point is what? In the northern part we grow in both the season, that is in the summer season, in the Kharif season, as well as in the winter season, that is in your Rabi season. Okay, but in the southern part we know that there is no winters, so throughout the year we are having a warm climate, that is your summer and as well as your warm climate. So we are having only one season in the southern part, that is your Kharif season. We are not having the winter season crop, that is your Rabi. So twice in northern part we grow the maize, and once in the southern part we grow the maize. Okay. Now the next important crop, food crop is for you is your pulses. Why pulses is very important? In both point pulses is important because in one way it is helpful for the farmers, and in the other way it is vegetarian oriented food, and it contains a lot of protein. Okay, protein in the vegetable diet. You will see that we are having pulses every day. With the help of this, the people can build up their bodies also. So it is one of the crop which contains protein, which helps in the body building also. Okay, so let's see what do we have for pulses. India is the biggest producer as well as the consumer of pulses. We all know that both the North Indian people, the eastern part of the country, as well as in your western part, and even the southern Indian, like your southern Indian states, they consume dal in the large amount. So we are the largest consumer of pulses in our country, and we are also the largest producer of the pulses. Then types of pulses, what do we have? We are having a varieties of pulses in our country. For an example, urad, masoor, moong, gram, tur, which is also known as the arhar, and then your pea, usko hum log matar kehte hain. Is tarah se we are having various kinds of pulses which is grown in our country. I have just discussed regarding what does it contain, the major sources of protein it has in the vegetable diet. It contains a lot of protein. Okay. And how has it been helpful for the farmer? Why? Because it helps in the crop rotation. It fertilizes the soil. The roots of the pulses releases the nitrogen, and this nitrogen in turn enriches the soil, and it lets the soil to be fertile. And for this reason, the people try to rotate the pulses with a different kind of a crop. Okay, so that is why it helps in the crop rotation. And then it requires a very less amount of moisture, as it can survive in the dry condition also. Okay, so not a large amount of water is required for this kind of a crop. The one thing to be noted here is that the only pulses which does not releases the nitrogen through its roots, that is your arhar. It does not releases the nitrogen. Besides this, all the pulses releases the nitrogen, and this helps in enriching the soil and make the soil fertile. So the last crop which has been left out is your sugarcane, which we know that it is also one of the plantation crop as well as the commercial crop. Okay, so throughout the year we grow up the sugarcane, and we'll see what are the main features of this crop. So the next crop we are having as our important crop, and this is also known as our commercial crop, which is the sugarcane. Okay, so it is grown both in the tropical as well as the subtropical tropical region. It grows in the tropical as well as in the subtropical region. So there is a big mistake here. We'll write here subtropical region. Okay. So it grows well in the humid and the hot climate, and the temperature which it requires is 21 degrees centigrade to 27 degrees centigrade. Okay, so usually it needs a hot climate also, and it also needs a humid climate. So both the northern part of India and the southern part of India is equally well for growing this kind of a crop. The annual rainfall here which is required is your 100 centimeters. So 100 centimeter of rainfall is important for this kind of a production. And if it is a dry region, then we have to use the modern means of inputs, like for an example tube wells or an irrigation canal, in order to irrigate the field. Okay. It comes as an annual crop, as I have already told you in the initial when I was starting this sugarcane, that it is known as an annual crop because it is grown throughout the year. So that is why it is known as a plantation crop and as well as your annual crop. Then the next feature regarding this crop is what? It is highly labor intensive, which means that there is a great requirement of manual labor right from sowing to your harvesting. Okay. So it can be grown it needs a high manual labor from sowing to your harvesting. It can grow in different kinds of a soil. No matter, with the help of different fertilizers, we can increase the fertility of the soil. So there is no bar regarding the soil. We can grow it in a different kind of a soil. What is the thing which we need to note down here? That India is the second largest producer of sugarcane after Brazil. Okay, so these are the food crops which we have discussed, right from your rice, wheat, millets, and under this millet we have discussed the three important, that is your arhar, jowar, not arhar, I beg your pardon, jowar, bajra and your ragi. And then we have discussed about the pulses. In this pulses we have discussed about the different dal, that is your moong, gram, tur, urad, masoor and your arhar. Okay, and after that we have discussed about the sugarcane. So we have seen all the major crops. Now besides the food crop, there are other crops also which is grown in India. So the second part is your oilseed crop. So let us put our discussion on the oilseed crops. So let's see what do we have in our oilseeds. So oilseeds, we know it is very important in we Indians diet, because everything, all the vegetables has been fried and then we are given in different orders to be consumed by our family members. So there are different oils which has been used in these vegetables. Like for an example, we use our groundnut oil. Then we are having the second oil which is known as your mustard oil. Then the third one is your soybean oil. Then the fourth one is your sunflower oil. Then we are having a sesame oil which is also known as your til oil. And the next one is your coconut oil. And besides these, we are having three seeds. That is your castor seeds, the linseeds and the cotton seeds. Okay, so mustard oil and your linseed is your rabi crop. Okay, so that is to be noted down here. So let's see what are the important features of these oil seeds. So what we are having on the board, the first one, it says that the most important oil seeds are groundnut and mustard oil. Okay, 50% of the requirement of the edible oil is being through your groundnut oil. Okay, and the major production of the groundnut oil is your Maharashtra, Gujarat and all these areas. So the 50% requirement is fulfilled by the groundnut oil as in your edible oil, and it comes under which category? Then it comes under the kharif crop, okay, which is your summer crop. Then we are having, besides this, the other oil seeds which has been grown in the country is about 12%. Okay, so the various oil seeds are grown, covering about 12% of the total crop area of the country. Okay, it is used also as a raw materials. Besides having it in our besides having it in the edible oil, this oil is also been used in the raw materials in making various kinds of products. Okay, like for an example, soap, ointments, and cosmetics items. So it has been used there. Gujarat is the largest producer of oilseed, and then we are having our southern states, that is Tamil Nadu, and in the western state, that is your Rajasthan. And the things to be noted down here is what? Linseed and mustard seeds are your rabi crop, which I have just told you in the initial point. Linseed and your mustard oil is your rabi crop. These are intercrops. And then sesame is grown in kharif crop in the northern part and rabi crop in the southern part of India. Okay, so that is to be noted down. Sesame, which is known as a tea oil, it has been grown as a kharif crop in the northern part and as a rabi crop in the southern part. It is grown in both the area but at the different season. And then we are having the castor seeds, which is grown in both seasons, that is your kharif as well as the rabi season. Okay, and one thing more is to be noted is that till 2015 India stood next after China in the production of oilseed, but after that it has occupied the third place after Canada and China. Okay, so after this we are going to discuss about the rubber. Rubber is also one of the commercial crop, and let's see what do we have in the rubber to be discussed. So the next important crop for us is our rubber. We also know that this is also one of the plantation crop. It is also known as one of the commercial crop. Okay, so all the three plantation crop we have already discussed. One is your sugarcane. The second one is your what? Your which we have discussed. That is your maize, and the third one which we'll be discussing is your rubber, and then we will see in the fruits and your vegetables. We will see the plantation crop which is your banana. We will see and we will discuss later. But for now we are having before us the rubber. It is grown both in the tropical as well as in the subtropical region. It is also known as one of the commercial crop, and it grows in hot and humid climate. Okay, so it needs a humid climate. I mean the temperature should be moderate. Okay, then it should be hot also. So it grows both in the southern India as well as in the northern part of India. So the rainfall requirement is about 200 centimeter of rainfall, which has been required for the production of your rubber, and the temperature which is required is about 20 degrees centigrade. Okay, so this is a normal temperature which has been required. Then which is the state which is having the larger production of the rubber, then that is your Meghalaya, which is in Tura. So it is the Meghalaya which produces the large number of your rubber. Okay, it is used also as a raw material in the industrial sector. How does it is used in the industrial sector? Because it produces a synthetic rubber. Okay, and these are being used in the different items, like for your tire, your tube, your vulcanized rubber, which has been used in the making the accessories for the athletes. Okay, like cricket tube, I mean the cricket pad, then your gloves. Okay, so here we use this kind of a rubber. Then which are the, besides Meghalaya, which are the other states which produce this kind of crop? Then there is the Kerala, the Karnataka, the Tamil Nadu, and your Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So all this area is having 200 centimeter of rainfall, near about 200 centimeter of rainfall, that is the Tamil Nadu. So these regions are good for the production of your rubber. Then what is the thing which needs to be noted down here is that India stood fourth among the world's natural rubber productions in the year 2012 and 13. So this was the plantation crop which we have discussed. So in the next lecture we will be seeing the different beverage crop, your horticulture, your fiber crops, and apart from this we will also see the different development of technological and the different reforms which has been brought. Okay, so till then stay safe and be happy all the time. Thank you very much.